Hey folks, it's Ardwulf. Welcome. Today we have a unboxing of a brand new game that the fine folks at Compass Games were kind enough to send me a copy of. This is Imperial Tide, the Great War 1914 to 1918 by the Christopher Lee of Wargaming, Gregory M. Smith. And I say that because Christopher Lee was in like 800 movies, and Gregory M. Smith is doing his best to create 800 games. Imperial Tide here is World War I, as you can probably tell, and it is a version of, or an evolution of, the Pacific Tide system in his earlier design. Now, I did an unboxing of that back in the day. This was on a couple tables, I think, at Compass Expo, and everybody I talked to who sat down to play this said they enjoyed it very much. So today we're going to take a look at the contents of the brand new Imperial Tide. Okay, so the first thing we notice is that it is in the standard 2-inch Compass Games box, unlike Pacific Tide, which was in a shorter box. We got the box back, which is oriented correctly. I'm pleased to report that today marks the return of the official Ardwulf's Lair unboxing knife. I actually found it in a drawer, so we can not bust out the box cutters again to do this kind of stuff. So, thick box, very thick, very sturdy. You could probably, well, I don't want this to be taken literally when I say you could probably stand on it. You probably can't stand on it, but it's a nice thick box. Okay, so we've got a baggie of baggies. We have a deck of cards, and we have 2 dice. We have a Compass Games catalog. This is probably, I think they're, this is still the sale catalog, I think. I don't know if this is the brand, if it's the newest one or not. Yeah, 2021 holiday catalog. And their holiday sale prices run through January 25th. As I film this, it is January 6th. So you still have a couple of weeks to get these sale prices. The prices are on the website, so by not going through the catalog, I'm not cheating you out of anything. All right, so we have a tiny errata slip. Allied cards 19 and 20 are printed as 1916 cards, and they should be 1917 cards. Okay, so that's unfortunate, but not a world-ending calamity like World War I. So the rulebook is so thin that I actually failed to pick it up on the first attempt. So let's just empty the whole box. So we've got we've got the magical fallout on their own counters, I see. So we got to be careful with that. We'll look at that in a second. So we have Imperial Tide, the Great War Rulebook. This is a 16-page rulebook, which has, it looks like roughly 13 pages of actual rules. Relatively subdued layout, looks real clear, decent number of illustrations, not lavishly illustrated, full color, somewhat glossy paper, but not super duper glossy. I think you'd have trouble writing on it in pencil. Should be a relatively easy game to learn and play. And if we look at suitable for solitaire high, do we have a complexity rating on here? Complexity 5 out of 10. Now that's subjective. So, you take that for what it's worth. I tend not to take the complexity ratings on boxes very seriously. Okay, and we got to try not to lose any counters here because we're already doing that. We have a play aid here. I don't know if there's another one or not. This is the solitaire play aid. Okay, so it is a solitaire play aid with a cool little enlistment poster type of thing down here for the Canadian Grenadier Guards. So hello to all of my Canadian viewers. And another one right here which looks British or Australian, something like that. Anyway, solitaire player aid card. All right, so we have counters, and I'm going to be super delicate with these because we're already falling out. The counters are very thick, pre-rounded. They look like roughly 5/8 inch counters. They might be 9/16. I'm pretty sure they're 5/8 inch counters, or some metric denomination. And we have 2 sheets of them. And once again, they're going to punch real easy. In fact, shipping punched a few of them. So keep that in mind. If you appear to be missing counters out of your counter sprues, that would be, possibly in the bottom of the box. And then we have a board. Now let's set the board up, because this is a mounted board, and it's pretty nice looking, I think. I mean, again, I've seen this at, well, I don't believe it was the final copy, but I've seen the game on the table at Compass Expo. All right, so let's see what the shot looks like here. Okay, we got a little bit of pooching here, but this pooching is actually because the board's hanging off the table. This lays fairly flat, I believe, with a minor amount of laying it under something. This will actually lay pretty flat. So as you can see, we have a point-to-point map here. The blue spaces are France. The sort of banana spaces are the Low Countries. The light gray are Germany. The medium gray are Austria-Hungary. The sort of lighter green, they're really pretty close, actually, between Russia and Italy. Then we got the Balkans and the Ottoman Empire down here. We also have some tracks. We have a Central Powers track up here, and we have a similar Allied Powers track, which you may not be able to see. And there are CRTs. I'll pull this up because this is cool. There are CRTs facing both ways on the board, and they're nice big, I mean, it's not a complicated or huge CRT, so it was easy to do this, but they're nice big print, so you're going to be able to see them without necessarily having to crane your neck over. And then we have some terrain effects stuff right here. So point-to-point map, as you can see, and it looks really nice. I didn't catch who did the art, but it looks really nice. Nor do I necessarily have a sense of the mechanics, to be completely honest. But, you know, since it started to punch itself already, we may be giving this a whirl sooner rather than later. Now, let's take a quick look at... So the dice are pretty much the standard 2d6 that Compass uses. They're fine. There's nothing wrong with them. Let's open up the deck of cards. And it looks like there's two different decks. There's probably an Entente deck and a Central Powers deck, and there is. And then we have the, we call the Allied Powers here. So just to take a quick glance at these things. Oh, what's this? Okay, so we have a special, that's interesting. Okay, so here's a 1918 card. So there is a card for 1917, 1915, and 1914. Okay, so there's like a card for each year. Central Powers is the first player in 1914. Neither side gets build points, and here are the resources that they get. So it sounds like these things are the things that change each year, which is actually neat. I don't see a 1919 card, but we do have also a special Schlieffenplan attack. The Allied player loses these infantry at Liège before the CP player rolls for the attack. That's interesting. Okay, so that sounds like an opening move type of thing. Okay, so we've got two decks here that look like they're about 40 cards apiece. I'm wrong, they're 20 cards or so apiece. So looking at the cards, artillery builds, Verdun. So it looks like you attack based on the cards themselves. You can flip an infantry in up to 2 friendly controlled areas. Okay, so that sounds like the counters. It says flip, but I don't see anything on the back. Ah, okay. So there's a back side that has a little symbol on it that shows that they're entrenched. Contrast-wise, that might be a little bit troublesome to see, because I looked at it about 3 times before I noticed. But then again, I'm not the most observant fella in the world either, so there's that. I think that could be visually a little bit more distinct, though. So it looks like you play cards to perform actions. Now, if anybody wants to correct me on if that is a misstatement, please do so in the comments. So we have the 2 card decks, and then a small number of these year cards, and then the Schlieffen card. So although there is a player aid card for the solitaire bot, there is no separate player aid card for the game itself. But from what I gather, The only player aids you need are the CRT and the displays and such on the map. And then these 3 cards, 5 of the 6 of which, remember there's 3 double-sided, will tell you what the situation is for the year. And then the other one is this Schlieffenplan attack table that shows the overwhelming likelihood that the occupants of Liège will suffer a 2 or 3 infantry loss in that space. I'd very much like to give this a try, actually. It looks very interesting. As I said, I talked to several people who played it with Greg at Compass Expo, and their opinions of it were uniformly positive. I'm going to get this back into cellophane off camera because it ain't happening right now. But very handsome new production from Compass Games, and very, very prolific designer Gregory M. Smith. Again, let me point out, I have in fact implied this, but I haven't actually stated it outright. There's a solitaire bot here, but it's a 2-player game. So it is a 2-player game with a solitaire system rather than a solitaire system without multiplayer, without discrete multiplayer options, as many of Greg's designs are. But this is one of the 2-player ones. It looks super interesting. So I'd like to say thanks to Compass for sending me this, and I would like to thank you for watching the video. If you have found it informative or helpful, please do give it a thumbs up. Please do subscribe to the channel. I will put a link to the product page for Imperial Tide from Compass Games on the Compass Games website in the video description if you would like to check it out. Please do that. If you'd like to help support the channel, please do consider checking out the links in the video description to the Patreon, the merch store, and the Ko-Fi. Until next time, thanks again for watching and happy wargaming.